Hi there and welcome to the September edition of the Redland District Angling Association Fisheries Feedback Reports. Apologies for being a bit late this month. Both Del and I have been off on our holidays, so the video's coming out a little bit later than plans. Also apologise for this beard. Too lazy to shave it off on holiday, I'm afraid, and I think you'll find Del looks quite similar. We've got lots to get through this month, all our usual news, features and announcements, so let's get on with it. So Del, Fisheries report. Before we get into that though, I see you've kept your holiday beard as well.
Yeah, well I've had a holiday beard now for I think about 4 years I think. So, and it needs trim, to be fair. It's starting to annoy me.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to keep this, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I've got a terrible habit of chewing the hair that sort of comes down here. It drives Emma up the wall.
Horrible, horrible.
So, yeah.
So where did you and Emma go then?
We went to Ireland first. Well, I've been over there fishing, but like all fishing trips, you tend to sort of drive to where you're going, fish, and then sort of drive back, so you don't get to sort of see it too much. So I thought Ireland, you know, I've never been and had an adventure around there sort of thing. So we basically drove all the way down to the south coast, drove all the way along the south coast, staying as close as we could to the sea, and then up what they call the Wild Atlantic Way.
Yeah, I know.
So we went all the way up there, up to Galway,
Right.
whichever way they pronounce it, and then come home. So I think we've probably done about a third of sort of the coastline of Ireland, so you know we've got something to be going back for.
So you saw the Ring of Kerry, did you?
Yes.
In my opinion, that is one of the most beautiful places in Europe.
Yeah,
really.
it was outstanding. I mean, another one for anyone that's been over to Ireland and done it is the Connor Pass, which is near Dingle.
Oh right.
And anyone of a certain vintage will have seen the original. What's the mini film? What's the mini film called? Michael Caine, Blow the Bloody Doors Off. What's it called?
Italian Job.
Italian Job, that's the one, the Italian Job. Anyone that's seen that, the opening scene to that, there's, you know, they go down this mountain pass and all that with the sun. Well, we done this mountain pass in Ireland and it was almost exactly the same, except the rain was sideways and it was cloudy. So it was sort of like the Irish version of it, and that was a fantastic. If anyone goes over there, make sure you do the Connor Pass. It's brilliant.
Well, there you go. So we even give you travel tips. So tell us about fishery management on our waters then. What have you and Jim been up to?
Well, it's been quite a busy month, despite the fact that I've sort of been away for a week. We take quite a few students from Sparsholt, and we normally have at least one on work experience each year. And I try and fill their week up with something that is relevant to what, you know, they're doing. And this time it was, I think and it was a her this time, which was unusual. And believe me, she knocked spots off some of the lads that I've had. Right. So fair play to her. One of the tasks she has to do is she had to look at fisheries that had problems, how we got over those problems and what we were doing to sort of negate any issues. And so it sort of fell nicely into the Wilmot's scenario that we've got, where it's, you know, we started work on there, it's flooded, we're trying to...
You don't mean Wilmot, you mean Wileys?
Wileys. I knew, I'm not very good today, am I? It's because too much Guinness, I think. Yeah, so the Wiley scenario where we've had the flooding, we've started work over there, it turned into the bottom of the Somme, we've got an otter problem, da-di-da-di-da. So we've been otter fencing, essentially. So we've been tidying the place up, started the otter fencing. We've got probably a quarter of the posts in, and we've probably got a fifth of the actual fencing up because we're sort of doing it as we're going along, sort of thing. And I'll be quite honest, I was quite sceptical. I've thought, I mean, this has been in the offing for the last probably 4 years. We've been looking to do it. I've looked at various ways of doing it, and I wouldn't say we've chose the cheaper option, but we've chosen an option that a lot of people tend to choose, and that's wooden posts with, it's actually like they call it tornado wire with a crank top on it. And I was a little bit sceptical, what's it going to look like? Is it going to look a little bit sort of prison campy, but it actually doesn't look too bad. It looks quite nice. So I'm quite pleased with it. We'll be carrying on with that. That's our winter's project, if you like. I'm hoping to get Wileys, at least 3 sides of Wileys open for the spring. We've got an issue up in the top corner. For those that don't know Wileys very well, the river is at the backside of Wileys, and it's perched. It's what they call perched. So the actual river is higher than the land around it, and the bank's leaking. Now, to fix those banks, you're talking hundreds of thousands of pounds. So that's just a non-starter. So what we've got to do is we're actually digging drainage ditches. So we're allowing the water to come in, but we're funneling it where we need to funnel it to keep the rest of the banks dry. Now that's going to take a little bit more work than we first envisaged. So we will probably, anyone that does know Wileys, what we'll probably do is, as you're stood there looking at Wileys, you'll have the car park bank, the left-hand bank, a proportion of the top bank, and a proportion of the right-hand bank that you'll be able to fish by the spring. But the top sort of right-hand corner and around that area, because of the amount of work we've got to do up there, we can't put the fence up there straight away. So that will probably roll on into the summer.
But the good news is Wileys is going to be open for business for next season.
Yes, yes.
That's fantastic news. And I see Jim's been busy. He had a bit of a clean up at Moatlands. We always have a litter problem there.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's one of the venues that are affected. Anywhere that's close to, it's the first port of call for the kids from the local estate. Yeah. And anywhere that's like that gets those sort of problems. We have the same sort of issues at Cottage Lane and this, that and the other. And, any urban fishery will have the same sort of problems. I mean, one of the things that really annoys me a little bit is anglers are blamed for it all the time. It's all anglers, it's all anglers. It's not, it's a social problem. Yeah. It doesn't matter where you go in the country, you will find litter, and it's a social thing.
Well, we'll have to keep doing it, but Moatlands is a good and popular fishery. So
yes, and we'll try our best, I mean, in theory, and I always say this on the subject of litter, in theory, if you were to adhere by our rules, we wouldn't have to go and pick any litter up, because every member is responsible for clearing their own swim, whether it's their litter or not. However, we live in the real world, and it's just something we've got to accept.
And the hatchery, I mean, we're here today. Yep. I've just been looking at 1,000 odd barbels swimming around in that tank.
All going well. Yeah, it's all going well. We're slowly increasing the feed because they're obviously getting bigger, which then creates its own problems in filtration and cleaning screens off and things like that. So although it sounds as if the workload is going down because we're not dealing with the fry, the reality is it's probably staying around the same because we've got to do more work to try and keep the water clear and clean and this, that and the other. But everything's going great. Our mortality rate is almost non-existent.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good, and I'm looking forward to doing it all again next year.
I'm sure you are. So we stocked out all the chub back a few months ago.
Yep.
These barbel are overwintering in the tanks. When are you going to be putting them out in the river?
We'll be looking to be putting them out about April, May time. We don't want to be putting them out in the summer. And we don't want to be putting them out in the winter. We want to get them prior to the big feed up, if you like, through the summer.
So they're going to be probably about 3-4 inches by then?
I'm hoping they'll be 6.
Really?
They'll be as big as 6. I mean, if you look in the tank carefully now, there's fish who are getting on for 4 inches in there now, and they're 17 weeks old. So I think we could probably get them up to about 6 inches plus by then.
No.
Because bear in mind, the water temperature in here is controlled, so they think it's summer. So they're still feeding hard, and they will do all through the winter. So
well, they'll be fat little fellas when they go in.
They will be like me.
And lastly, obviously we had the KHV outbreak on the Farnham Lakes. But none of it's travelled this way. It looks like our members have heeded the call to be careful. Make sure they don't bring wet nets onto the sites and all the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean The KHV problem is here to stay. It's a little bit like the otter problem. It's here to stay, and I would edge my bets that there isn't a lake on a water on a floodplain that hasn't got KHV infected fish in it. The trick is to keep those fish healthy, keep your stocking levels down, keep the water quality up, because KHV is a secondary disease, if you like. It's a virus that will only come to the fore when there's another problem. So if you have a DO crash or something like that, it gives the virus a chance to attack their immune system. So somewhere that is healthy, good water quality, healthy fish, they can carry KHV indefinitely. It's interesting to note with all the KHV that's going on at the moment and the way CFAS and all the regulatory bodies are reacting to it. We had a problem with KHV, we were involved in a problem with KHV in 2007 when the blue pool, when it was under Cemex, got it. Now, when that was in the early days of KHV and they didn't know a great deal about it, this, that and the other, and what they've done then is they put a 4-mile exclusion zone around the whole lake. Any lake that was within that 4 miles, nothing could be moved in, nothing could be moved out, all sorts of restrictions, everything else. Whereas now that it's become more prevalent, and the reality that most lakes and most fish are carriers, and even birds, even crayfish can carry it. Now that that's understood, they just close lakes.
Right.
So you can have one lake on a complex and they'll just close that
and that's
lake.
what happened with farming, wasn't it?
Exactly. So, you know, the thinking behind KHV has changed somewhat. However, that still doesn't take away the fundamentals in check, clean, dry. You know, it's not just KHV, it's all sorts of other pathogens and whatever that you don't want in your lakes. And it's something that the modern angler has got to get his head around.
But the good news is we haven't had fish kills. And our stock remains healthy.
And long may it continue. And you know, as I say, you're only one breath away from a disaster. You know, nature always finds a way, and it's no good sitting in this ivory tower saying you're holier than thou and it's never going to happen to us and this, that and the other, because it could happen like that tomorrow.
Well, fingers crossed. A few other announcements. The Better Fishing Academy programme is winding down. We've had 9 events with all manner of angling disciplines on display. They've been incredibly popular, and a big thank you to Steve Reed for organising it. The last one we had, and we put some photos up, was on the Thames at South Stoke. Big thanks to Michael Jazeel, Dave Clark, Andy Dodd. We had loads of people came along. Learnt ways of catching fish more effectively on the Thames. And what I've been really excited about, Dale, with the Better Fishing Academy is quite a number of people that have been on those sessions, so they've then gone out, taken that knowledge. We had one guy who caught his first double-figure tench after the tench clinic, and you'll see when we roll a gallery in a minute, the wonderful barbel have been caught with the skills and tips that have been passed on by our local experts to other anglers. So it's really great to see Reading District members helping other Reading District members get more out of their fishing.
I mean, it all boils down to the same thing, and I keep banging on it. I think I'm probably mentioning it in every other video. You know, Reading District isn't about a fishing. It's not just a fishing club. It's a community, and you know, we're all brothers in arms, if you like. We all got a shared goal. And if we can help people out, then that's what we'll do. And we want to create that, and this is going a long, long way towards achieving that goal of Reading District being the place to be if you want to grow your angling and this, that and the other.
Well, and you know, I can't thank all the volunteers enough. They've been fabulous, and the last one is on October the 19th at Flint, so next weekend. That's the pike workshop with Steve Parker and all the pike guys. That I think is already full up. And you know, hopefully we'll roll out the programme next year. We'll learn some lessons from this year's experience and do it all over again.
And you know, It's been a lot more successful than I thought it would be. I'll be perfectly honest. I didn't think there was much of a market for it. However, I've been proved wrong, and thankfully so. And all credit to the guys that run it, the guys that help out, and the guys that have come along. Yeah. It's really good to see.
Talking of creating lifelong anglers, sadly we've lost one of our long-standing lifelong anglers for Redmond District. That's Dave Elliott. We put up a tribute to Dave on our Facebook page the other day. I'll put up a picture now. Obviously Dave with a stonking great barbel. Quite an incredible angler, bit eccentric, doesn't drive, used to get everywhere by public transport, but that never stopped him catching phenomenal fish.
Yeah, I mean, the passion was obvious for everyone to see, you know. Like I say, if you was to say to a young lad these days, right, you're going fishing, but you've got to catch a bus.
And a train.
And you've got to carry all your gear and all your bait and all this sort of stuff. They'd look at you as if you had a chicken on your head. You know, whereas Dave, he used to plod along. I don't think there's an angler that fishes the Kennet regularly that hasn't bumped into him at some point. And, you know, Dave would always, you know, share what knowledge he had quite willingly with anybody, you know. So, yeah, it's a shame. And I think angling needs people like Dave. Yeah. And it's a loss to angling.
Oh, well, rest in peace, Dave. I hope you've got a good swim wherever you've gone. Finally, Dave was a big advocate for river fishing, as we all are. We've got a march coming up, a national march for clean water coming up on November the 3rd in London. Redmond District members supported the protest we had at Newbury a few months ago. This is a national march with Fergal Sharkey, a lot of people there from the Angling Trust, really just trying to keep the issue of pollution and cleaner rivers on the top of the public agenda. So November the 3rd, put the details up now, 11 o'clock at the Albert Embankment in London. I should be going up there. If any Redmond District members want to join us, drop me a message and we'll organise a proper delegation from Redmond District. And who knows, we might even carry one of our own banners.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Okay, I think it's probably time now to roll the gallery and have a look at the fishing pictures of this month.
Yep.
Right, Dale, well that was another mixed bag from a very, very wet September, wasn't it?
Yeah,
But
lots of happy faces, mind.
yeah, I think the guys did well. I mean, just before you choose your winner, just pick one or two for further comment out of that. Coming on to what we were saying about members helping each other, Kevin Hargreaves, everybody knows, caught a fantastic barbel from the Kennet, but Kevin's been going out there helping other people. And look at this lovely picture of Jack Mernin with his first ever barbel. Now, my first ever barbel was £3 in the Thames in Windsor in 1968. His mate Jack, his first barbel is £13.
He's going to go a while before he gets a bigger one than that.
Well, I think so. But I mean, great to see Kevin helping people out. And then again on the same theme, Mark Lambert. Mark is the guy I was talking about earlier. Went to the barbel clinic, picked up those tips, was struggling to get the big fish, and look what Mark's landed, £13.6. Eh?
Yeah, exactly. It just goes to show the value of these. You know, people might be a little bit sort of reluctant to go and I wouldn't say admit their failings, if you like, but you can always learn. Every day's a school day, and that proves it. You know, he possibly could have waited another 6 months before he caught his barbel, whereas with a little bit of education and what have you, boom, he's there.
As you can see, he's a happy boy.
Yeah.
And finally, again on the barbel, I don't know who it was, but somebody popped up this picture from 1956 of barbel being netted from the Kennet in Newbury and used to stock the River Severn.
Yeah.
And I just think, you know, we're sitting here in the hatchery, and I was thinking to myself,
can we have them back?
Yeah, well, the River Kennet has provided barbel to the Severn.
Yep.
The Severn barbel then got illegally stocked into the Wye. The Wye is now one of the finest barbel rivers in the country. The Bristol Avon was Kennet barbel as well. The Hampshire Avon barbel came from the Thames initially. Yeah. So, I mean, this part of the world has actually been the engine room for barbel production. For many years, and we're doing it again now.
Yeah, and don't forget, you know, the EA used to get their broodstock from the Kennet up until probably early 2000s.
Yeah, they get the Trent now, don't
they? They used to get you know, there's Kennet barbel swimming around all over the country. You know? So I think we ought to sort of maybe ask for a few back now. Yeah,
barbel capital of Britain. Okay, so there you go. 16 pictures to choose from. Which one of you decided who's going to win the award this month?
To be honest, I could have given it to probably 3. But the sort of one that stands out is Archie's Prince. We know he's become an angler in the last year. He started off with his father down on Wilmots catching stuff and this, that, and now they've sort of progressed on to sort of Cottage Lane, and they're following that sort of pathway, and you can clearly see he's over the moon with this, and that's obviously, you know, the first big fish he's ever caught, the way he's cuddling it. But he's doing everything right. He's got an unhooking mat. He's doing everything he should be doing, and I think it's a fantastic, and it just highlights the journey from catching these up to these and then to these, and it's great. Well,
I reckon in a few years' time we'll see him with a 50-pounder from Engerfield, won't we?
It'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, do you want to tell him what he's won?
Right, yes, Archie. You have won a bait pack from Rodder Hutchison Bait and Tackle. What we've done is, believe it or not, the carp pack that they used to send us, I think we've given 2 of those away ever since we've been doing this. So we've dropped that. So it consists of pellets. It'll consist of some ground bait, some various other bits and pieces, all that you can add. You know, carp, ground bait isn't just for silverfish. You can use it for carp fishing. I'm sat here now actually looking at somebody that caught a 50-pounder by using ground bait. Yeah. You know, it works. So let us know when you want it, etc., and we'll make sure it's in the hut for you.
And a cap?
And the cap as well, obviously.
Yeah, which is good. Well, thanks for that, Del. I think that's an excellent choice, and well done, Archie Prince. So, my turn now. Fish of the month. This one was quite easy, really. One of our long-standing barbel anglers, Ambrose Smith, has had quite a few doubles this year. He's been successful. Probably not quite as successful as Kevin, but he's certainly done very well. But he knocked it out the park the other day with a 15-pound, 1-ounce Kennet barbel. Put the picture up now. Lovely fish, well-worthy winner of the Fish of the Month. So get in touch, Ambrose, and you get your £50 Angling Direct voucher, and you'll also get a very nice trophy. The thing about this particular fish, if you have a look at it, Del, that has got some potential to grow more.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That fish is not topped out at 15 pounds.
No.
So you know, if it comes out again in the winter, it could
very well be 16 plus.
Yeah,
very well be.
So really pleased, and some great fish. So well done, Ambrose. Okay, last bit now is Jim, our Deputy Fishery Officer, is going to tell us all about fishing prospects for the autumn. So Jim, rivers are full of water. What does that mean for the fishing?
Good, hopefully. Hopefully, I think Martin just maybe related to it earlier, that hopefully with this sort of extra colour in the water, this sort of winter period of fishing is coming a little bit closer to us than it sort of normally would. So this next month's going to be a great time to get these smelly big baits out on your rods and start roving about and trying to find some of these big barbel and chub that we're seeing on our Facebook page constantly.
I think so. And so where would you recommend people target big chub on our waters then?
Big chub, Wallingford is definitely a place to be going up there. It's a little bit of a drive out to the Thames there, especially for people sort of the other side of Reading, but it's definitely worth it out there. You can get up there, sort of fish that sort of late into the evening, and just as that light's starting to go, the rods can be whacking over one after another. So yeah, Wallingford's definitely a bet for it. On the Kennet, all your sort of backwaters are producing big barbel, big chub on a regular basis. So yeah, your backwaters and the Thames.
And of course, don't forget the new shared bit we've got at the LAA at Cholsey. It's very overgrown at the moment, and we've got to do a lot of work on it. Yep. But if you can smash your way through the undergrowth and get up towards the island, there are 2 or 3 really good chub pegs up there.
And just below the island as well, there's a couple of really cracking swims there where the flow just comes down that inside bank and it screams fish all day. Yeah,
so lots to look forward to, and of course, you know, don't forget we've got access on the exchange ticket to the Upper Thames on the South Cerney exchange ticket. So there's plenty of fishing up there, and the one water I would always recommend people have a go at when the levels drop is look at the Reading water up at Northmoor.
Yeah, certainly, yeah.
You know, I've had some fabulous chub up there.
Yeah, good days to be had up there. And again, if for the people that don't mind a bit of a drive out there, it's definitely worth it. So I know these places might seem, it's a sort of half-hour jaunt getting out there, but trust me, they are worth going to.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're into pike season now, aren't we?
Yeah, we're there already. I'm seeing quite a few guys sort of regularly in the last week out already. We're doing this video a little bit later, so I've already seen guys out on the pits dead baiting, and they're actually catching well already. So yeah, it's good to see, and there's a lot of sort of guys roving around with lure rods and things, and yeah, I reckon we're going to see some pretty substantial pike and perch this winter.
So barbel when it's mild, chub when the water's not too coloured, and chasing the pike. That's your message, is it?
Yeah, pike on the big pits. There's going to be some whackers this winter, I'm sure.
Thank you very much for that, Jim. Much appreciated.
Good luck, everyone.
Well, I hope you found that interesting. That's it for another month. The weather's on the change. We're moving now more, as Jim has said, into our autumn and fishing phases. There's some great fish to be caught. We've obviously had far too much rain, but the rivers will be in much better condition as a result of it. So we reckon there's some great fish to be caught out there. So have a good time on the riverbank and tight lines.